So he didn't obey the decision of the Supreme Court of the United States, and now he's doing another one, which is actually a smaller version, but it's even more bekakt, okay? It's even worse. So it's really, it's a terrible thing, but he's going to be rejected there too. But that's what they do, and it's very bad for the country. But we're going to take care of our students better than they've ever been taken care of before, I promise you that. If Joe Biden wins this election, the middle class loses. But if Trump wins, the middle class wins. The low income will start their journey toward the American dream. Wisconsin will win. And the biggest winner of all is going to be America. America wins. On day one of my new administration, we're going to throw out Bidenomics and we're going to replace it with Maganomics, And upon taking office, I will impose an immediate moratorium on all new spending grants and giveaways under the Joe Biden mammoth socialist bills like the so-called Inflation Reduction Act. We're going to save all that money. It's not helping you at all. It's not doing a thing for you. It's just like a political game. We're going to stop the Biden spending spree. We're going to halt his inflation death spiral. We're going to terminate his Green New Scam. It's going to be terminated. And we're going to end this war on American energy. We're going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to bring down your energy costs. We're going to bring down your energy costs like you wouldn't believe. And by the way, that's going to spiral everything else downward. You know, that's what started inflation. You didn't have to be that good a student at the wonderful Wharton School of Finance to know that if your energy cost doubles and triples, it was going up like a level. Now he's gone more or less back to where I was in terms of drilling. He's approving. The day after the election, he would end that immediately because they have to get some oil out of the ground. You know, we have more liquid gold under our feet than any other nation in the world by far. We started off at number 3 and number 4. We were down in 3s and 4s generally, and we ended up number 1 by a lot, over Russia and over Saudi Arabia. And we were doing great, and we were going to use all that money we were making to start reducing debt and lowering taxes still further. But he ended it, and then they did a crack course on let's do something. Remember, he took all the oil. It's the lowest level it's ever been. The strategic reserves. He took all the oil out of the strategic reserves so that people could fill up their car with a tank of gas and not get totally destroyed because it was just before the election. So he took all this oil, and it's meant for fighting wars. It's meant for major emergencies, catastrophic emergencies. It's not meant for, helping to get the price down 15 cents a gallon so that you can try winning an election. And now the strategic reserves are the lowest they've ever been. That tells you something what's happening here. To further crack down on rampant waste in the federal government, we're going to bring back presidential impoundment authority, which nobody knows what it is, but it allows the president to go out and cut things and save a fortune for our country, things that make no sense. And there's so many of them. We have so much waste. We're also going to reclaim America's heritage as a great manufacturing nation, and we were doing that. We were doing that. I remember when Biden said, well, this isn't a manufacturing nation. We became a great nation because of manufacturing. It is a manufacturing, but they've let other countries steal all of everything. When I was president, we brought thousands and thousands of manufacturing jobs back to Wisconsin, and I delivered a major shipbuilding contract to build a new combat ship. You know Marinette? Marinette Marine. Marinette Marine likes me. Everybody wanted that contract. I brought it to Wisconsin to build lots of, 28, a lot of ships, and they were beautiful. You know what I called them? They were so gorgeous. I called them yachts with guns on them. They had more guns than I've ever seen. They had everything. But they were beautiful. I even helped design a little bit. I said, you got to do me a favor, change that bow a little bit, couple of bucks more. But it is beautiful, and they've done a great job. But we got it to Marinette, so that was very important. Everybody wanted it. Every state that did that kind of work, which is quite a few, they wanted it. Under Biden, 0 manufacturing jobs were created in the month of March. You know that, right? 0. I don't think that's ever happened. 0, it's hard to do 0. Just weeks ago, Master Lock closed down. I used to use Master Lock all the time. When I was a little child, I'd take Master Lock, I'd go and lots of nice little puzzles, you put them together. I always wanted to see, could I break it? You could, but it was not easy. But Master Lock closed down its century-old plant in Milwaukee and sent their jobs to Mexico and China. Does everyone know that? Master Lock, that was a staple of your state, and they closed down. That would never have happened with me. I would have told them, if you're going to do that, that's fine, but we're going to pay 100% tariff on any lock you make to send, and you can't do that. Bidenomics is also ravaging American seniors, and the Biden inflation tax is a fact. I mean, it's just, it's going to end up cutting Social Security by allowing millions and millions, which is not sustainable, of people coming into our country through the southern border, and many, many really bad ones, okay? Many, many bad ones. You're going to destroy Social Security. You're going to destroy Medicare. You're going to destroy the fabric of the country. It's not sustainable. It's not affordable by any country, and they're going to destroy our country. So we're going to have the largest deportation in the history of our country. We have no choice. And we start with the bad one. We start with the bad ones, and there's plenty of them. As even fake news CNN right back there now admits. There goes. Oh, the camera's going off. Don't turn it off. The camera just went off. I thought I got him there, Mr. Chairman. I thought I got him. Every time I say that, I see the camera going. I have to say it quickly, so I get him, and then they turn the cost of living adjustments under Biden are not even close to keeping up with the taxes, and Crooked Joe with his insane border policies will destroy. And it's going to destroy. You know, to have Social Security and Medicare, you have to have a strong country, and we don't have a strong country anymore. We have a country that's failing. We have a failing nation. We are in a failing nation. If this were another country, they'd say this is a failing nation. It's a nation in decline. As president, I will always protect Social Security and Medicare for our great seniors, 100%. 100%. And by the way, while we're on it, it was always the plan from the great legal experts of this country and even the world, but from the great legal experts to everybody, Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, they wanted to get abortion out of the federal government. Everybody wanted that. That was uniform. Then about 10 years ago, people lost their way. They started talking about, how many months, what do you think, what do you do, what do you do, what kind, where does it take place? And they forgot the original aim was to take abortion out of the federal government and move it into the individual states and let the people decide. And we were able to do that. After 53 years, we were able to do that. And now you'll see it. It's rather, generally, look, some people will be very happy, some people won't be as happy, but time will make this. It's really been incredible. And some of the decisions, I mean, frankly, there are some very conservative states that voted a very much more liberal policy than anybody would have thought. Very liberal policy. A couple of states I won't mention, but a couple of states really surprised people. But basically, the states decide on abortion. And people are absolutely thrilled with the way that's going on. Every state's different, every state. But remember, from the standpoint of what's happening, nobody wants to see abortion in the 8th month, the 9th month, or nobody wants to see it after birth, because you have a situation where the Democrats will allow it in the 7th, 8th, 9th month, and will allow execution of a baby even after birth. I mean, they actually have a standard. You remember the former governor of Virginia, he said, we put the baby down and we decide. The baby is born, we put the baby down and we decide whether or not, essentially, to kill the baby. So what's happened is now the states decide, and they're going to votes in different states, and it's been an amazing process, and it was something that was very important to get done. But we had to take the radicalism, and the radicalism was really the Democrats, because when you can do abortion or killing or execution, at that point in a life cycle, you just can't do that. But now states are deciding, and some people are unhappy because it's too liberal a policy or too conservative policy, but we brought it back into the states where it has to be, and over a period of time that works out, and it's taken a lot of the controversy out, and it's been a good thing. And you also have to remember, as a politician, you also have to get elected, because if you don't get elected, it goes back into the federal government perhaps, and then you have one policy that's not going to work, but you have to get elected. You have to go with your heart. I always say, very important, you have to go with your heart. You have to do what's right, but you also have to get elected, because if you don't get elected, a lot of bad things will happen beyond the abortion issue. A lot of very bad things will happen, from taxes to military to everything else. So it's been very interesting to see the process. And again, some states have been pretty much right there where they want to be. Other states have gone far more liberal in that sense than they wanted to be, and some were more conservative. And they have some votes coming up now, and the people are going to activate, and they're going to work in their state. But I think it's a very important thing, and we did something that took courage, but it's something that everybody wanted to see. They wanted to bring it back, and now I say it's up to the state. They'll ask me a question about it. I say that's up to the state. So I say to you, I think we did a very good job in that. A lot of people are very happy with it, and we did the right thing for our country. You think that was on the teleprompter? I don't think so. I don't think so. No, I thought it was a good thing to talk about. We're here with a great group of patriots, and I think it's a very important thing to talk about, frankly, and we'll talk about it more and more. But it's really been a process that's been quite amazing to watch, and I think very positive for our country. But we're going to immediately seal the border. We're going to stop the invasion. We're going to send Joe Biden's illegal aliens back home where they belong. We're going to send them back home where they belong. In addition to criminals, drugs, terrorists, mental patients, Joe Biden's border catastrophe is also bringing colossal costs. Unbelievable costs are being brought in by this catastrophe on our border. Crooked Joe is flooding our country with millions and millions of low-wage migrants from crime-ridden countries all over the world. This isn't just South America. They're coming from all over the world. Last week, 22 from the Congo in Africa. They're coming from Africa. They're coming from Asia. They're coming from the Middle East. We're bombing Yemen. Here we go again with the bombs, right? A phone call could solve the problem in about 2 minutes if you had a president that knew what the hell to say. Here we go with those bombs. Let's drop bombs. Let's kill everybody. That's what they say. Let's go and kill everybody. $1 million a bomb. Each bomb, average price, $1 million. Let's bomb the hell out of these countries that don't want to be bombed. You can make a deal. I made deals. You know, we never got into a war with me. I beat ISIS in record time. We never got into a war. With this guy, you'll end up in World War III. You'll end up in World War III. I'll tell you what. This next 6 months is going to be very scary. You could end up in World War III with this person, and there's a grossly incompetent man. Over the last period of time, you know, it's funny, I wouldn't have said that. But then something happened that was really horrible. I got indicted. I'm a president of the United States. And I got indicted. Now think of it, for nothing. In fact, if you read Andrew McCarthy, Jonathan Turley, the great Mark Levin, you read Greg Jarrett today, did an incredible piece. You read any of these, Alan Dershowitz, they all said, and these are not fans of mine necessarily, they're not. They all said, there's no crime, he didn't do anything wrong. I've never seen anything. You know, usually they say, well, what do you think about this? There's no crime. Now, I have a crooked judge. He's a totally conflicted judge. And I come, you know, unfortunately, it's a 95% or so Democrat area. Other than that, things are wonderful. But it's about a 95% Democrat area. But something happened when that happened. And then I got indicted again. And then I got indicted again. And then I got indicted by Fonnie with her boyfriend. I call her Fonnie Wade. Her boyfriend's name is Wade. And she hired her because of his expertise in this particular form of law, right? He was an expert. He never did it before, but he was an expert. He got paid almost $1 million. Got indicted. So he got indicted 4 times. And they have civil trials, too. All coming out of the White House. Everything. Like a third world country. And the good news is people get it. Most importantly, people get it. And my poll numbers are higher than they've ever been. I mean, higher than they've ever been. But, no, higher than they've ever been. But when that happened, you know, I was not that tough on Biden. I felt he was a grossly incompetent person. I felt he was a very corrupt person. But I wouldn't go around and say what I say now. Once I got indicted the first time, I got indicted 4 times. Think of it, 4 times for nothing. They say J6. Nancy Pelosi didn't call in the police. I said, I will send you 10,000 soldiers. She didn't want them. And the mayor of Washington, in writing, didn't want them. And by the way, the hoax committee that they set up, I call it the unselect committee. I always like that term, the unselect. But the unselect committee damaged and threw out all of the evidence. Did you know that? And nobody does anything. Nobody does anything. If a Republican did that, they'd get the electric chair. They destroyed the evidence. They deleted everything. So now all of those people that said, yeah, Trump wanted to give 10,000, like the head of the police department, the head of the military, it's all been damaged, deleted, and destroyed. Now think of that. And you don't even read about that story. They destroyed it. The chairman of the committee, this real lowlife, we have to go after Donald Trump. He destroyed all the evidence. He actually destroyed it and deleted everything. If you're in a regular civil court case, and if you get rid of stuff, they take very serious umbrage of it. You go to jail for things like that. And this committee destroyed everything. Remember the person that said, I attacked a Secret Service agent in the front of the car? It's not my deal. I'm a lover, not a fighter. Remember that? And these are tough guys. You know, these Secret Service guys, I hate to admit it, they're slightly younger than me. Just slightly. It's very hard because, you know, you also have metal bars and a couple of things you have to get through. No, but didn't she say something like, I grabbed the guy at the wheel and grabbed him around the neck. And I was slightly rebuffed because I'm so strong. I could only be slightly. And then I grabbed the man on the right, who I think was a black belt in karate or something, and like 30 years old. I grabbed the man on the right and I had, this is crazy stuff. I sat in the back. And you know what I did say? I said, I'd like to go down there because I see a lot of people walking down. They said, sir, it's better if you don't. I said, well, I'd like to. I'd better if you don't. All right, whatever you guys think is fine. That was the whole tone of the conversation. Instead, they'd be, I want to go down there. These people are crazy. And then I think she changed her testimony. You heard that because the people testified that none of this stuff happened. But a friend of mine said, you shouldn't fight that because I gained such respect. I didn't know that you were that strong and that tough, that you would take on a black belt in karate or whatever the hell he was. A very tough guy, I can tell you that. There were muscles all over the place, on his ears, on his neck. If I grabbed him around the neck, I'm not even sure he'd feel it. He might not feel it. No, these people are crazy. But they destroyed all of that evidence so that now we don't have the evidence of what she said, I guess. These people are criminals. These people are criminals. And you know, I say this because I love this state. I love this group of people. I'm talking to you. So far, I've been 92% off teleprompter and 8% on teleprompter. But isn't it nice? Thank you. But isn't it nice to have a president who doesn't need a teleprompter? Not that he can read it anyway. He can't read it. Now think if I read my teleprompter and I'm going, well, let's see, because of the weakness in the economy, I'd like to apologize. Pause. Pause. What was that? That's unbelievable. Pause. You know, I was watching it. I said, that was weird. They actually don't have pause in my teleprompter, you know? They have a blank space. That's like you see. If there's a response, if there's no response, you just keep going. You don't have pause. Some speechwriter saying pause, they're not going to know. You know, some of the things that people like the best, that get the biggest applause, you think of deadlines, right? Like Drain the Swamp. I hated it. I hated the line. I said, when I first started, because we did Drain a lot. I got rid of Comey. I got rid of so many people, but it is deep. But listen, Drain the Swamp. I used to go, we will drain the swamp. I used to sort of like, the people used to go crazy. And after a while, I got to like it. You know, Frank Sinatra never liked the song My Way. But after a while, he told me, after a while, he got to love it because it was just something that people reacted to well. So there are things that when you do this stuff, you don't think it's going to necessarily be great. Like we had a lot of nicknames. I was the king of nicknames. Somehow I was the king. It worked. I won't go over most of them because many of them are friends of mine now. You know, I can't really bring them back. I bring back bad memories. But the nicknames are good. What do you like better, Crooked Joe or Sleepy Joe? They're both accurate. What do you like better? He says criminal. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, ready? We'll go Sleepy and then what? Wait. You applaud if you like it. We'll go Sleepy first and then Sleepy Joe, Crooked Joe. That Crooked Joe is a bad guy. I thought it was going to be a lot closer than that. Wow. Well, you know, I used to call Hillary, and it was accurate, but I used to call Hillary crooked, and I changed it, moved it over. Well, that's very good. That's a cheap poll. You know, normally you'd spend $150,000 with these pollsters, some of which are good, but some of which are... They'll take $150,000. They won't even go into the field. They'll just say, let's see, let's tell them it's about 40 to 30, and let's say that 30% are undecided, you know, and they won't have left their office. And so this way I get an accurate poll. That's a very accurate poll. That's more accurate than some pollster's going to give me. Although I like pollsters right now because we're leading in all the polls. So right now I like polls. The radical extremists and far-left agitators are terrorizing college campuses, as you possibly noticed, and Biden's nowhere to be found. He hasn't said anything. But they're his political base. Do you think if he did say, okay, look, let's not kid ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, President Biden is coming to give you his words of inspiration. Now, does anybody think that it will be so inspiring that everybody will say, oh, we have to go home, we love our country? No. They'll say, do you believe the guy that's the president of that country? This guy, he is, yeah, he needs something. Now think of it, but he hasn't been heard from. You know, he's the president. When you have a problem like that, you should go out and talk about it and talk to the people. But there's a big problem, there's a big fever in our country, and he's not talking, but if he did, it wouldn't matter. In fact, I think it would actually make it worse. Many of them aren't even students, you know, and many of them come from foreign countries. You know, thousands and thousands are from foreign countries. I was wondering about that. I'm saying, where did these people come from? To every college president, I say, remove the encampments immediately, vanquish the radicals, and take back our campuses for all of the normal students who want a safe place from which to learn. But when you see that video of raging lunatics and Hamas sympathizers at Columbia and other colleges. No, but when you look at it, I say, where did these people come from? I don't know people like that. I mean, I deal with a lot of people. Where do they come from? And they do come from other countries, and they are paid. You know, I said something last night. I did the great Sean Hannity. Has anyone ever heard of Sean Hannity? He had to do 2 hours last night instead of one. He went through it like it was nothing. You know, he's a professional. He's a good guy, too. But I said the other day, I said, you know, do you ever notice the signs? Normally, in the old days, when you had a real protest, not financed by Soros or whoever might finance it, when you had a real protest where people meant it, they'd go down in their garage basement and they'd start making a sign and they'd all be there. Every sign was a perfect printed sign, green, with a perfect, beautiful post. Everything was the best money could buy. They all have the same. They were handed those signs by people. You know, at least they should make them a little different. Different lettering, different colors. But they don't. No, it's a whole big hoax going on. But it's a shame. And Biden should speak out. He should speak out. He should say something because nobody knows where he is. He's definitely against Israel. But I don't think, she said, he has no idea where he is. I remember Chris Christie. He really liked me quite a bit, right? That's only because I was wise to him. And somebody screamed out, he's a fat pig. And I said, sir. And you know you're not allowed to use the fat word. If you use the fat word, you're essentially out of politics, right? There are certain words you can't. You can say obese, but you can't say fat. I think obese is probably worse. But you can't use the fat. But a person shouted out, he's a fat pig, sir. And I said, sir, never, ever call Chris Christie a fat pig, ever. He is not a fat pig. Please, I'll have to ask you to leave the room. So anyway, it's called having a little fun on the campaign trail in Wisconsin, right? But it should be no surprise that in addition to the millions and millions of people invading our country from the border, Crooked Joe is now reportedly planning, this is wonderful news for you people in Wisconsin, to bring massive numbers of Gazans from the Middle East, all live to your American towns, your towns and villages. Your towns and villages will now be accepting people from Gaza, lots of people from Gaza. And various other places, Yemen, lots of other places. You know, just let the world simmer down a little bit, please. He's now delivering thousands, or he just announced last night he's going to deliver thousands of people to a town near you. Joe Biden seems he's just determined to create the conditions for an October 7th style attack right here in America. It's going to happen with all of these people coming in from the southern border, and you saw the 2 months ago where it was announced, here we are, they're trying to maybe stop.